Everybody's bases get raided. Well, my story is they blew through one sheet wall, slammed an armored door, blew a few other doors, and they were in core. I was playing solo. Everything was in core. Even though my base was large, I did not spread the loot out. I just didn't take the time to do it. Because when I spread it out, then you got to go get it and bring it back when you're actually active and playing. So if I put pipes in multiple places, it's a chore to go get them. So I came up with a way to use the industrial system to do that. Hey, it's AK. It's Tuesday and we're back at it. Today, we're talking about loot distribution. Basically, it's spreading your loot out through the base. But by utilizing industrial system, it's easy to maintain. It's not a manual process. So to kick it off, I'm going to pretend that this is my core. I've got a handful of boxes in here along with my TC, whatever else is in, the hardest to get to. Right? Those 4 boxes represent my core. I have them. They can be sorted. It doesn't really matter. I've got my good stuff in there. I've got my sulfur. I've got my tools. I've got my jackhammer. I've got my weapons. I've got my ammo. I've got my diesel. I've got everything in these close to the core of my base. And these can represent multiple storage rooms. Doesn't have to be just this. So let's pretend this is your core. Now, throughout the base, I've got other loot rooms or even just hallways. Sit down. It doesn't really matter where they are. They can be in a bedroom. Just different items spread out. So what we want to do is we want to drop down 2 conveyors. And when I get off, I'm going to turn on those conveyors. So I'm going to link every one of these boxes just in and out, in and out, in and out. The idea is these are going to be empty. The output of these boxes are going to go to all of these other containers. And then the output of this series of containers, we're going to take back to this top one. And that's going to come back into our core. Where's our first box? Into our core right there. Once it's all set up, you can just see there's items in these boxes in my core. If somebody hits this, they're going to get all my good stuff. Right? My weapons, everything. So what I'm doing here is I'm turning this on. And that's going to empty these 4 barrels. And it's going to be spread out kind of evenly. Not perfect. It's going to be spread out between these other 4 barrels. So we've got some of everything going in each one. And then the loot is all spread out. So some of my scrap is in every one of these boxes, and these boxes could be in different rooms. Once the boxes are empty, I don't want to have to go to each one of these individual loot rooms. So that's what this top conveyor is for. We turn it on, and now what it's doing is it's emptying all those barrels, and it's bringing it back to my core. Let me show you this in an actual base. Right over here, I have a farm base. And I've done this in the core. Right, these are my 6 boxes in the core. I do have boxes here, but I didn't attach those. I just chose not to because I want them to raid in here and get something and keep going and waste their boom. Up here are my conveyors. And I've strategically placed those next to a turret. That way when they blow that turret, they blow these conveyors as well. They can't access the conveyors without blowing this turret. That prevents somebody just coming in, getting the TC, finding the conveyors, and then just bringing everything back in. But from this base, I have boxes on every floor. Here's 4 boxes here. I have 2 more here. Go upstairs. I have turrets. I have boxes behind turrets. All the loot from the core will be distributed to each one of these boxes. So every one of these boxes will have some of my main loot in it. There's some boxes here with a shotgun trap. There's some boxes here. But that's the setup for loot distribution. This is AK, and I'll see you next time.